this is something very needed, very important, because there aren't enough innovators that look like us. So, when you think of the science people behind Apple and Mac, you think of nerdy white boys in the lab coats, all like doing all the computer stuff. And I feel like that really discourages kids of color, no matter Black, Native American, Mexican, Asian American, East Indian, the latter. There's not enough people of color that are going forth in the STEM field.
Filmmaker, Shanice Johnson.
Hello everyone, this is Tishana Richards with Famous TV. And today we're here with Shanice Johnson. She's a filmmaker, and she's going to tell us about her journey so far. So tell us a little bit about how you got started.
So I originally got into film actually through Scottsdale Community College. They have a brilliant film school, and I just went there. Got my 2-year degree with an emphasis in post-production. I don't have that story of, I wanted to be a filmmaker since I was 6 years old. I kind of just fell into it by accident, to be honest. I knew I wanted to do something within the media, I just didn't know what. So I felt like getting a film degree was actually the best place to start. And so attending that school, learning the basics in terms of post-production and just production in general has really helped me, and just getting my own work off the ground. So yeah, that's how I got started.
And so what was your first step when you were done with school? What did you decide to work on? What was your next project?
Immediately out of school, I got a post-production job, post-supervising at a company in Deer Valley. And I went forward with some of my own projects. So I was always doing like short films, short documentary pieces. If there was an event in Arizona, I'd try to go cover it.
What has been, would you say, your milestone or your greatest achievement so far since graduating?
Since graduating, I feel like the biggest achievement I've made is actually being young, being 22 and starting my own business, starting a freelance LLC, Malakai Creative, creating a documentary that's been able to go to Cannes and that's been able to go to multiple film festival venues as well. I feel like has been a great milestone for me in terms of actually seeing my work gain some type of praise or gain some type of social value with others. Also too, just partnering with really cool, unique people who actually saw enough in me to help me in terms of producing and funding the film. So,
speaking of Cannes Film Festival, what was the film that got you there, and how did that start?
The film is called Black Girls Code. It's a 15-minute short documentary that just highlights this unique nonprofit that is bridging the digital divide. So they're taking little girls starting at the age of 6 and introducing them into technology. And so these little girls are like building robots and coding websites.
So far we went to IBM. We made the robot that we had to program, but we had to debug it.
Helping create the new change makers of tomorrow, helping to cultivate the innovators of tomorrow. So, and Kimberly Bryant, founded by Kimberly Bryant, who's brilliant. She saw that there are not enough people that looked like her within the industry, all based in San Francisco, the Bay Area, but so far they've gone forth and taught over 1,200 girls. And this summer they're going to teach 2,000 girls. So this is something very needed, very important, because there aren't enough innovators that look like us. So, when you think of the science people behind Apple and Mac, you think of nerdy white boys in the lab coats, all like doing all the computer stuff. And I feel like that really discourages kids of color, no matter Black, Native American, Mexican, Asian American, East Indian, the latter. There's not enough people of color that are going forth in the STEM field.
Kimberly Bryant and you, how did that start, and how did you guys make Black Girls Code?
Well, Kimberly Bryant, she founded Black Girls Code in 2011. How I actually got involved was I was blessed enough to have one of my amazing favorite people in the world, and she was a former teacher. Her name's Janet Robinson, and she's actually she's one of the head professors at Scottsdale Community College. We met on Facebook. I did a prior documentary about creativity, and she had messaged me about it, and it's like, hey, I'd like to show this at some of my classes, and that's just how we met. And so we'd been talking online for a while, and I even took one of her documentary courses. I saw this really cool contest about making a 3-minute documentary about anything innovative, anything change-making, and it's for this contest called Focus Forward. So I posted the contest on my Facebook because I knew if I ever had the funding, I would do something like that, and I knew I would do it on Black Girls Code. Janet messaged me on there, and she's like, why don't you do it? I'm like, I don't have money. And she's like, well, I'll help you. I'm like, what, really? And so I was blessed enough to have someone who saw enough in me, and so she took me to San Francisco. She produced it. We filmed there for 3 days. We weren't trying to be like big film producers, big people. We were just trying to capture a unique, inspiring story that we knew was going to, change the world. We met up with the Black Girls Code founder, Kimberly Bryant. We met up with Abby, the community manager. And for 3 days, we got to go to all of these really awesome, innovative places to film young girls of color going into technology. And so we got to go to like NASA. We got to go to IBM, a secret IBM facility located in like the mountains. We got to go to the Computer History Museum, and all of it was just really, all of it was just really unique in seeing these little girls flourish and change over a period of days. So, yeah.
3 days filming in San Francisco. So when you were done filming, what was the next step in post?
I'm a nerd, so editing is like my favorite thing to do, because that's just how I direct. I direct through post-production. It's just about taking the footage and shaping something that would tell the story in a unique way. Because this is called Black Girls Code, so showing like these faces of empowerment, showing like our future in terms of editing process, that's really just what I wanted to do. And so for that like 3-minute clip, you can see a lot of smiling faces, girls staring directly into the camera. I use a lot of overlays, so collaging like cool matrix type numbers, collaging like astronaut footage and archival footage from space. And so we entered that into the Focus Forward Film Festival. It was a semi-finalist, which is really cool, like out of thousands of submissions.
The cut that actually played at Cannes was a 15-minute cut, and you made a 3-minute one. What are the differences between the two?
Yeah, the 15-minute is just, expanded trailer. It's showing more empowerment, showing actual interviews of the girls. You're getting deeper into the parents who maybe never have even thought about getting their children involved in technology, but seeing their daughter code apps for iPhones, they're surprised, that, wow, I never knew my daughter could do this. I never knew I could do this. Hearing Kimberly, who grew up in Tennessee and didn't see a lot of people who looked like her, hearing people say, well, a lot of these girls didn't know they could ever go into technology because they're shamed out of technology in a way because there's no one that looks like them. What was really unique to me was me being there over the course of 3 days and filming, and being that I'm a Black woman. You saw little girls who probably never even thought about filming asking me questions and asking to hold camera, like, oh, so what do? You're making a movie? How do you make movies? I do this. Oh, you edit? So how do you edit? Oh, I do this. Really? I want to try that. Can we make a movie? Like, even just that was cool for me, in seeing self-empowerment through the girls. And I feel like me interviewing them too, what I learned about that was people are more comfortable, not because I necessarily look like them, but you're more comfortable if you assume that they're intelligent. If you baby little kids, I feel like there's an ageism within the world all the time. We always assume young kids are not intelligent enough to discern racism, or not intelligent enough to discern, ignorance from others. And so the fact that these little girls are like 6 or 7 or 12 and saying, oh, my teacher told me I would never do this in school, or my teacher told me that I was not smart and I should just do this. And yet this girl just coded an app for iPhone and she just made her own website. Okay, So that's what I learned too, is don't always assume that the youth aren't intelligent, because these are the change makers of tomorrow. I learned that if you put your, I'm gonna be all philosophical right now. If you put your positive energy towards something, if you want to do something, you never know what's gonna happen. Me just thinking about, oh, I really want to do a documentary for Black Girls Code, and then someone offers to produce and pay for it out of nothing, and I got to go to San Francisco, which is one of the most dopest cities in the world. I mean, that's too what I learned, is if you do something well, and if you are a positive person and you treat others well, you never know who will, provide for you. And that's the same thing that happened with Cannes too. Like me, I never thought I'd be able to go get I had to crowdfund my trip there, and I had strangers donating like $500. No problem. I'm like, yo, does anyone know this person? She just donated $500. And I emailed her, and she's like, oh, I just own a radio show, and I know what it is to be a filmmaker and be a young girl of color. And I'm like, what? So like, what I'm basically saying is, if you put positive energy towards what you want to do, then great things will happen. I've been really blessed with the Cannes Film Festival. Entering my film into the short film corner, that was a really unique opportunity for me. I was like sweating. I was like, okay, I'm never gonna make it into Cannes. Why would my film make it? It's a 15-minute cut. I like kind of rushed the edit a little bit. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can make something really good. And it got in. And a lot of other people got into the actual short film corner. And so going there and seeing all these other young filmmakers who were just getting into the industry, you got a glimpse of who will be the next creators of tomorrow. Being in France was amazing. I want to go back. People there are so nice. And what's unique about Cannes is it's not really consumer, it's not for the public. Everyone that's in Cannes is in the business. And so people are journalists, reporters, filmmakers, producers, distribution companies, everyone there you can learn something from. And so that was the best thing about it, is being able to go up to anyone, talk to them, and they could possibly be the solution to a problem.
So how were the documentary films perceived compared to the other films?
I feel that documentary films have the power to change the world, and that's specifically why I love doing them. But one thing I've noticed within the film industry in general is that documentary films are not given enough prestige. They're not given enough worth, and that's something that's really a problem, and tells to the fact that, we as a society kind of almost like to forget our problems. That's just how we all are. When we sit down and watch TV every night, it's to zone out and get into a story. And I do feel that there is a way to engage people in real stories and still make it interesting. And so, being at the Cannes Film Festival, or even just going to different film festivals and seeing the way that my documentary is received, I think there is a way to properly engage an audience. So, and then I feel like one of the comments I always get about my film, it was really easy to watch, because it wasn't so much the story as the fact that there's always movement and there's always something to look at. If you engage your audience within a documentary, you have to do it so their attention isn't diverted. It has to be done in a way that people still want to see what's going on, not only visually, but message-wise. So going to Cannes Film Festival and showcasing the documentary, seeing other people's opinions of it, is really interesting. That immediately, I'd say, hi, my name is Shanice Johnson, this is my film, and they say, well, I don't want to watch it because documentaries don't make money. And I feel like one of my main things is I'm not in this to make money. Of course, money is always an issue when you want to create something, but I feel like there needs to be a movement within the world where we give documentaries the worth, because these people, documentary filmmakers, we're everywhere. We're grinding it out. We have our cameras. We're following these stories. We're cultivating them. We're trying to get a message out. If we all just took a little time and appreciated the message that was going forth within all of these stories.
What was the message of Black Girls Code?
The message was basically about empowering young girls of color to go forth in technology. But not only that, the message is if you put your mind to anything, of course you can, you can achieve it. And so, me being a woman of color in the post-production field, I honestly don't see a lot of people that look like me in terms of being an editor and being a filmmaker. There are a lot of women of color who are filmmakers, but I feel not a lot where we have that platform. And so you're starting to see a movement where people of color are taking their own messages, either whether it's just by creating a web series like Issa Rae, or creating your own film movement. One popular person right now is Ava DuVernay. Hopefully I'm saying her last name right. And she actually started a platform called African American Filmmaking Movement, which basically is a distribution company, a distribution firm for releasing black films and making sure that they get the proper circulation in order to see a diverse range of audience.
What advice would you give people who want to be filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers?
One piece of advice I would give to anyone being a filmmaker is that you don't have to go to school. You don't have to, have a big budget. You don't have to have this prestige. All you have to do is have an idea in your mind and go for it. You can take a little camera or a big camera. It doesn't matter. You can have a whole bunch of equipment or one piece of equipment. As long as you know the story you're making and you make it well, that's all that matters. I feel like there's that new revolution right now where you have so many indie filmmakers who create these amazing stories, narrative films or documentary, experimental, whatever, and it's off of no budget. And I feel like that is something to say when you have all these big industry professionals who have these $1 million budgets, and you have this little guy who just made this amazing film that's twice as better than the $1 million budget film for no money. So anyone can be a filmmaker as long as you know the story you're trying to make, as long as you're bringing a message forth and you get the right team involved. It's all about having the talent in a team, in making sure that you're getting that message across and with all spectrums. So making sure you have good pre-production, production, and post-production.
So how can people get to see your stuff or find you?
You can find my work on my production company page, Malakai Creative, MalakaiCreative.com, MALAKAI creative.com.
Big thank you to Shanice for coming in.
I'm all dancing. Thank you for having me.
And big thank you to her for inspiring future filmmakers. And this is, again, Tishana Richards with Famous TV. See you later.
When we grow up, we might become people in technology.
And thank you to Mike.
Only on Famous TV. Please subscribe to Famous TV YouTube page. Thank you for watching.